Hey YouTube, today we want to take a look at this little camera. It is not a wireless camera, so it's something that's very new to me. We want to take a look at it, do an initial setup, and see if we could get this thing to work. I'll have a link to where we got it from Amazon in the description below, so let's get to it. In the box we have the camera with a little pigtail worth of cables, a couple little end pieces to cover up this Ethernet port, some mounting hardware, a mounting template. This here is a quick start guide and just some documentation on how you can mount this thing. Let's unwrap it and see what we find inside. I popped the camera out of the wrap, and what we have is a neat little HD camera with infrared lights on the inside, and is domed so you could mount it just about anywhere. It's supposed to be able to angle the camera to point in whatever direction you want to point it in. Let's take the dome off and see what we see on the inside. I took the dome off, and what you have is the camera in here that you could angle. You could twist it, and you could mount this in any direction, so you really have 360 degrees that you could field of vision. You also have some moisture absorbent things here, which is pretty cool. And I guess this is how you get to the mounting screw holes. The pigtail for this thing has a lot of little connections. There's an Ethernet connection which you connect it to your network, where you could do a POE, power over Ethernet. If you don't have power over Ethernet, there's a little power input. There's a 12 volt DC input. The power supply for this does not come with a kit, so if you have to use one of this, you got to buy one separately. This thing has alarm output, so I guess it's for an alarm. It has an audio in right side, audio in left side. You have an alarm input and an audio output. We'll take a look at the instructions and see what we could use these for. I don't have a power over Ethernet switch, so I went ahead and plugged it into my home network and plugged it up to a 12 volt 1 amp power supply. I could tell that it came on because these little infrared lights, they start coming on and they start flickering. You probably can't see it on the camera, but it actually is up and running. And how you access this camera is through your local network. The default IP address on this thing, and I'll put this in the description also, is 192.168.1.13 or 192.168.0.13. You should be able to access this directly from your home network if your home network is on one of those subnets, and that's getting a little bit technical, right? So the thing is, if your home network is not on one of these subnets, just to access the camera and change the IP address, you'll need to re-IP your home laptop. So let's fire up the laptop and see if we could get into this thing. I'm gonna check to see what my home network is. From a command prompt on my laptop, I'm gonna just do an IP config. And here we could see I'm on 192.168.1, so that IP address at 192.168.1.13 as the default on the camera, that should work. So let's check it out. Let's see if it actually connects. So after some finagling with my home network, I was able to get into this thing, and you do it via the IP address. And you could have a live view, and this is just a view of the camera that's recording this thing right now. You could have multiple streams. I don't have those set up. Let's see what else this thing could do. So this camera could do a whole bunch of stuff. In the setup, you could set all your local settings, your Ethernet settings, your local settings, time. You can set up multiple users. Under network settings, you have all the common network settings that you could hope to find, including email. You could set this thing up to email you for various events. You could also set 802. Whatever protocol. The events you have common alarm events, such as motion detection. You could set a motion detection area, give it a name, and set a schedule for it as well. And when it detects motion, it could do something. You could set it to trigger an alarm, upload something to an FTP, start recording, or send an email. Same thing with tampering. You could also have a microphone on this thing that detects audio, and it could detect the audio and do the same thing, send an alarm or trigger an email. You also have an alarm input, something like a door switch or something, or a glass break sensor that you could also enable. Then there's the alarm output, which could output to a switch to turn on, like a siren or a light that's flashing or something. You have some basic storage options. Right now I have no storage in the memory card, so there's nothing in here. Or I have no memory card in the storage slot, so there's nothing in here. You have some basic security. You could set up new users. You could set up some network security. You could go ahead and register this thing. And you could also watermark your video. And you could also do some basic maintenance functions here. So that's it. That's the basics of this little camera. It's a nice little camera. You could angle it 360 degrees. It's networkable, but sadly only via Ethernet. And it has a whole bunch of pigtails here that you could do various functions, add a microphone, a siren, a flashing lights or whatever. And if you don't have power over Ethernet, you got to plug it up. I hope you like this video. If you do, please remember to click subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. God bless.